I don't get why common sense is called common sense if everybody doesn't seem to have it. So last year, me, you, and everybody on this planet who watched football saw how atrocious the Houston Texans offensive line was. They struggled to run the football. They couldn't protect CJ Stroud. And coming into this offseason, the Texans knew that improving their offensive line was their number one priority. So why is it that the first move that they make when it comes to the offensive line is trading away their best offensive lineman, left tackle Laremy Tunsil? I've heard about the locker room issues. I've heard that he possibly is seeking a new contract extension. But when you have a guy that is widely considered to be a top 5 left tackle in the game, you don't care about the locker room issues. You don't care about what he's asking for when it comes to contract negotiations, because it is incredibly hard to replace an elite left tackle. It's even harder to find even average left tackle play. So with you getting rid of Laremy Tunsil, there's a 95% possibility that the guy that you bring in to replace him ends up being a lot worse than what he was. So what if he had a few holding penalties? He was one of the highest rated left tackles when it came to pass blocking. Now you get rid of him, and maybe you bring in somebody like a Cam Robinson, but there's a reason why Jacksonville didn't give him a long-term deal. There's a reason why Minnesota decided not to re-sign him. You know, when you have one of the league's worst offenses, getting rid of your best offensive lineman and a consensus top 5 tackle in the game is not a solution to making it better. You can look at it as, well, you're not going to be paying him so much money, so you can spread it out better on improving the offensive line. But how many good offensive linemen are in free agency right now? Not too many. Some of the best have already signed deals, or they either have re-signed with their former teams. So if you are the Houston Texans right now, you have put yourself in a big disadvantage, because now your offensive line risks being a lot worse now that you don't have a reliable blind side for CJ Stroud. And this is the reason why I wasn't quick to anoint the Houston Texans as the new kings of the AFC South, why I don't feel like they're going to run this division, because this is an organization that for the second offseason in a row, they have neglected the biggest weakness on their offense, which is their offensive line. Now, of course, we still have a few more weeks to go of free agency, so they definitely can make some moves, but there's not really a lot of great guys out there that really should give you a lot of confidence. This is going to be a better unit next season than what it was last year, with you already getting even worse without Laremy Tunsil. Just because he was a member of the worst offensive line in the league doesn't mean that he was just as bad as everybody else. There's a reason why he's one of the best left tackles in the game. You can be a good student in a dumb class. You can be an all-A student in a classroom with a bunch of C, B average kind of classmates. You know, what you are isn't always contributed to your environment. And with Laremy Tunsil, him being as good as what he was on the league's, or one of the league's worst offensive lines, was a huge reason why the Texans never should have traded him. You know, some players are worth the headache. If Laremy Tunsil was a little bit of a problem in the locker room, so what? It's hard to find elite left tackles. You just don't give that up unless you have no choice to. The goal is to keep a guy like Laremy Tunsil around in spite of everything that he may have going on, because it's so hard to get good left tackle play in today's NFL. I don't think enough of you Texans fans understand this. It's incredibly hard to even find an average left tackle in today's NFL. Dan Moore just got overpaid by the Tennessee Titans, and he was graded as the worst left tackle in the league last season. So, I mean, right now, the Texans are trying to tell us that 1 + 1 = 4. It makes no damn sense to get rid of a guy like Laremy Tunsil, no matter how much you try to spin it. Paying a guy like him a lot of money is worth it. You just can't look at it as, well, we got more money to allocate to improving the entire offensive line. No, if you don't have an elite left tackle, your offensive line tremendously drops off from that. So you going from Laremy Tunsil to wherever else you're going to have at left tackle next year, expect a huge downturn at that spot. It's incredibly hard to get elite production out of that position. Why do you think guys like Ronnie Stanley and Trent Williams are getting massive paydays late into their careers. Because when you find a halfway decent left tackle, you want to keep them around as long as possible. I strongly disagree with Texans fans that are trying to justify this bad trade, moving on from their best offensive lineman when he had the worst offensive line in the league. He was the only good part of that. Yeah, he had a few penalties, but it's like, how much of that are you willing to take, knowing how you could see considerable regression out of that spot this year? Now, if I'm wrong, I got no problem coming on here and admitting that I'm wrong, but I really don't like this. I don't like how the Texans traded away their left tackle to help protect another promising young quarterback in Jayden Daniels while putting their young quarterback at an even bigger disservice. Makes no sense to me, but this is 1 + 1 = 4, according to the Houston Texans. You know, this is why common sense isn't so common, because everybody doesn't seem to freaking have it. This is a move that never should have been made. Unless Laremy Tunsil knocked the dude out, broke somebody's jaw, something like that, he should have still been a member of the Houston Texans. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with this decision to move on from him.